Hello everyone, welcome to the fourth part of question paper discussion by English Folio. In this video, we will be discussing questions 11 to 20 from the evening shift of UGC NET exam October 2020. So, let's get started. Question number 11. Arrange the following plays in their chronological order. A. The Tempest. B. All for Love. C. All Pony. D. The School for Scandal. And the options are option number 1 A, C, B, D, 2 C, A, B, D, 3 C, B, A, D, and 4 A, D, B, C. The Tempest, as we all know, is a play by William Shakespeare thought to have been written in a time period between 1610 and 1611. All for Love or The World Well Lost is a 1677 heroic drama by John Dryden. Wild Pony, the Italian for Sly Fox, is a comedy play by Ben Jonson, produced in a time period between 1605 and 1606. The School for Scandal is a comedy of manners by R.B. Sheridan, performed in London on 8 May 1777. So the chronological order goes like this: Wild Pony 1605 to 1606, The Tempest 1610 to 1611, All for Love 1677, The School for Scandal 1777. So the right answer to this question is option number 2, C, A, B, D. Question number 12. Which two of the following features shall apply to Roland Barthes' notion of a writerly text? A. In case of writerly text, a reader accepts the meaning without too much reading effort. B. A writerly text tends to focus attention on what is written. C. A writerly text makes the reader a producer. D. A writerly text tends to be self-conscious. And the options are option number 1, A and B only, 2, B and C only, 3, A and C only, 4, C and D only. In his 1970 book, Essay, Roland Barthes formulated that the realist text, which is considered to be transparent, having a seemingly unitary meaning, invested by the author, and easily accessible to the reader, is a readerly text, in which the reader is only a passive and inert consumer of the author's product. On the contrary, the experimental text, which he calls the writerly text, requires the active participation of the reader in establishing the meaning of the text. Such a text is a site of resistance to stable signification and is characterized by difference and aporia, or deadlocks in understanding, where meaning is constantly under erasure. So, a writerly text makes the reader a producer, and a writerly text tends to be self-conscious. So, the right answer to this question is option number 4, C and D only. Question number 13. Arrange in the chronological order of publication. A. The Unfinished Man. B. Gitanjali. C. Jejuri. D. The Sceptred Flute. And the options are option number 1, B, A, D, C, 2, D, B, C, A, 3, B, D, A, C, and 4, B, D, C, A. The Unfinished Man is a 1960 collection of poems by Sehgal. Gitanjali, which was originally published in Bengali in 1910, was reworked in English in 1912. Jejuri is a series of poems by Arun Kolatkar, which was first published in the Obsidian Literary Quarterly in 1974 and issued in book form in 1976. The Sceptred Flute, or Songs of India, published in 1943, is the complete poetical works of Sarojini Naidu. So, the right chronological order is Gitanjali 1912, The Sceptred Flute, 1943, The Unfinished Man, 1960, and Jejuri in 1974. So the right answer to this question is option number 3, B, D, A, C. Question number 14. Which two of the following periodicals are devoted to feminist theoretical discussion? A. Spectrum, B. Science, C. Chrysalis, D. Transition. And the options are 1. B and C, 2. A and C, 3. B and D, 4. A and D. Spectrum is a theological publication of the Adventist Church. Science, Journal of Women in Culture and Society, is a feminist academic journal that publishes essays which examines the lives of women, men, and non-binary people around the globe from historical and contemporary perspectives, as well as theoretical and critical articles addressing processes of gendering, sexualization, and racialization. Chrysalis, a magazine of women's culture, was a feminist publication produced from 1977 to 1980. It distinguished itself from other feminist publications through an organic integration of politics, literature, cultural studies, and art. Transition was an experimental literary journal that featured surrealists, expressionists, and Dada art and artists. So, the right answer to this question is option number 1, B and C, Science and Chrysalis. Question number 15. Who among the following coined the term aesthetics? And the options are option number 1, Arthur Rondeau, 2, Alexander Baumgarten, 3. Immanuel Kant, 4. David Hume. Aesthetics is a branch of philosophy that deals with the nature of beauty and taste, as well as the philosophy of art. The word aesthetic is derived from the Greek aesthetikos, meaning sensitive, pertaining to sense or perception. The term aesthetics was appropriated and coined with new meaning by German philosopher Alexander Baumgarten in his dissertation Philosophical Considerations of Some Matters Pertaining the Poem in 1735. He chose aesthetics because he wished to emphasize the experience of art as a means of knowing. And the answer is option 2, Alexander Baumgarten. Question number 16. Which two of the following poets defended poetry against Plato's denigration of poetry? A. John Dryden, B. P.B. Shelley, C. T.S. Eliot, D. Philip Sidney. And the options are option number 1, B and D only, 2, A and B only, 3, B and C only, 4, C and A only. In An Apology for Poetry or the Defense of Poesy, Philip Sidney has addressed general objections to poetry such as those of Plato. The essence of his defense is that poetry, by combining the liveliness of history with ethical focus of philosophy, is more effective than either history or philosophy in rousing its readers to virtue. And thus he famously stated that the poet he nothing affirmeth, and therefore never lieth. P.B. Shelley, in a defense of poetry, has said, while ethical science arranges the elements which poetry has created and leads to moral civil life, poetry acts in a way that awakens and enlarges the mind itself by rendering it receptacle of 1,000 unapprehended combinations of thought. He also added that poets are the unacknowledged legislators of the world. Among the given poets, it's Shelley and Sidney who have defended poetry against the charges of Plato. So the right option is option number 1, B and D only. Question number 17. Arrange the following critical works in the chronological order of publication. A. Preface to Lyrical Ballads. B. A Defense of Rhyme. C. Life of Cowley. D. Frontiers of Criticism. And the options are 1. A, C, B and D. 2. B, A, C and D. 3. B, C, A and D. 4. C, A, D and B. Preface to Lyrical Ballads is an essay composed by William Wordsworth for the second edition published in 1801, often referred to as 1800 edition of the poetry collection Lyrical Ballads. A Defense of Rhyme by Samuel Daniel is a 1603 work of literary criticism. Life of Cowley is a biographical essay in the lives of the most eminent poets by Samuel Johnson, which was published in 3 volumes from 1779 to 1789. Frontiers of Criticism is a lecture given by T.S. Eliot at University of Minnesota in 1956. It was printed in On Poetry and Poets in 1957. So the order will be A Defense of Rhyme, Life of Cowley, Preface to Lyrical Ballads and Frontiers of Criticism. And the right answer is option 3, B, C, A and D. Question number 19. In which short story does the narrator witness a consumptive young man named Mr Shaynor recreate the Eve of St Agnes in a trance? And the options are option number 1, E.M. Forster's The Eternal Moment. 2. Rudyard Kipling's Wireless. 3. Somerset Maugham's The Creative Impulse. 4. Aldous Huxley's The Bookshop. It's in Rudyard Kipling's short story The Wireless. The narrator, who is Kipling himself, witnesses a young man in his last stage of consumption improve Keats' poem The Eve of St Agnes, dedicating it to a lady in a toilet water advertisement in trance. So the answer is option number 2. Question number 20. Arrange the autobiographical text in the chronological order of publication. A. Autobiography of an Unknown Indian. B. My Experiments with Truth. C. Prison and Chocolate Cake. D. My Story. And the options are 1. D. A. C. B. 2. C. B. A. D. 3. B. A. C. D. 4. B. C. A. D. Autobiography of an Unknown Indian is the autobiography of Nirad C. Chowdhury, published in 1951. The Story of My Experiments with Truth is the autobiography of M.K. Gandhi, published in weekly installments in his journal Navjeevan from 1925 to 1929. Prison and Chocolate Cake is the autobiography of Nayanthara Sehgal, published in 1954. My Story is the autobiography of Kamala Das, published originally in Malayalam as Ende Katha in 1973. It was later reworked in English in 1977. So the right chronological order is The Story of My Experiments with Truth, Autobiography of an Unknown Indian, Prison and Chocolate Cake, My Story. So the option is option number 3, B, A, C, D. With that, we come to the end of this session. We hope this will be helpful for you in your preparation. Keep trying and have a good time. Thank you.